Welcome back to Fantasy Turf War, the show where 64 teams go head to head to see who's the ultimate champion. I'm, of course, your Commissioner Cory, back with this Week 9 review, Week 10 preview of Fantasy Turf War. Again, we have 64 teams, 4 divisions of 16, going head to head every week. And let's jump right in. But before we get started, if you like what we're doing here, if you think that we're putting out great value to your fantasy football leagues, or if you just find us entertaining, I think our dad jokes are cool. That's probably like 2 of you. Do us a favor, hit the like, subscribe, comment buttons, all that stuff. It really helps out the algorithms and helps us expand our reach. We are trying to get to as many people as we can and get the word out there, and your help is greatly appreciated. All we ask is that you ever bring back is one friend. Bring back one friend, and hopefully they'll bring back one friend, and they'll bring back one friend. So we're trying to grow a community out here, and the league is mainly 64 teams of small businesses, and so we're trying to support them as well and grow their reach. So it's long stem generational effects. So welcome back to Fantasy Turf War, the show where 64 teams go head to head to see who's the ultimate champion. I'm, of course, your Commissioner Cory, and we've got a late night edition here with the Week 9 review, Week 10 preview of Fantasy Turf War. Again, we have a league of 64 small businesses, 4 divisions of 16 going head to head every week, and lots to cover. So before we get started, if you like what we're doing here, if you think what we're doing is at least interesting, all we ask is that you subscribe on whatever platform you're watching this on or consuming this on, and comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff. It really helps us out, expand our reach, and hopefully get more eyeballs on our content. And so we appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you on the next show, and hopefully joining our community. So let's go ahead and jump right into the week one the week one. Yeah, we're way past week one. The week 9 results for Division 1. And so we have Bam Bam beating out Carswell Golf beating out Bam Bam 132-24 to 70.08. Magic Makers beating out last place winner with a century loss 120.42 to 107.72. Century loss is a term that we use when you scored over 100 points and you still end up losing the game. 100 points will usually win you most weeks. Not the case for those century loss teams. And speaking of which, we have another one. The coaches desk 107.82 losing to the Vibe 110.84. Lamb Chops beating out Stat Daddies 119.70 to 82.24. General OGFL 114.40 beating out Jeff C 80.86. Screaming Pomeranians losing 84.86 to 121.40, and that's the lefties. Tear down with the 139.20 to Jive Turkeys 63.54. And Big Beard losing 95.84 to 110.70. That's Matt Brown and Lambo Calrissian. Let's take a look at your rankings for the next week. Lamb Chops, you are still sitting at number 1, followed by Carswell Golf, Stat Daddies, The Lefties, The Vibe, General OGFL, Tear Down, Magic Makers, Screaming Pomeranians, Avery and Jeff C, The Coach's Desk, Lambo Calrissian, Big Beard, last place winner, Jive Turkeys, and then Bam Bam sitting in last place. And so in case you are new to the show, new to Fantasy Turf War and how we do things, first, welcome. Second, we have 64 teams again, 4 divisions of 16, and the way the playoffs work is that the 2 top teams in each division at the end of week 14, going into week 15, get seeded into a playoff bracket. So the top 8 teams finishes week 17. So that is what the green is indicating, as those are the top 2 teams in this division. The red is an indicator that that is the last place team in the division currently. And last place in each division is subject to league punishment, if you will. And currently that is Bam Bam, Andy Schiffer. Let's take a look at Division 2 now. Who let the Service Dogs out? 105-46, beating out Legit Sports Media 78-10. Strange Brew 132-46 to the Mystics 82-78. Team Coco 100.28 to Mark Manzella 87.06. Southside Stampede 123-68 and beating out Lauren Hill, just Josh in 105-20. That's a century loss. I hate to see it, Lauren. You're getting close to the elimination point there. Full-time fantasy, look at this score. 97-94 to the Ren Zone's 97-84. That's a .1 margin of victory there for full-time fantasy. Keep note of that. It may pop up in the show later on. Sports Idiot Nation 107.10 beating out Game Time Sports Network 92.64. Team Smooth 107.52 to Influencing a Win 120.30. Essentially lost for Timothy Trilk over there. And Shady Brady with a 62.96 beating out Welker Home Peyton. That's 40.22. So not too often you see a 62 points getting a win, but Mike Lanza, you have gotten away with one this week, sir. Congratulations to you. Let's take a look at your rankings for the week. Who Let the Service Dogs Out is still sitting at number one. Strange Brew, Southside Stampede, Shady Brady. And we'll pause here and say that these four teams have been jogging all four positions for the last few weeks now. And so it's anybody's guess who's going to win this one. But currently it is Who Let the Service Dogs and Strange Brew. Um, Coming in fifth is Sports Idiot Nation, followed by the Mystics, Mark Manzella, Team Smooth, Team Coco, Game Time Sports Network, Full Time Fantasy, Katie Louisi, also known as Welker Home Peyton. That's a typo on my part. Legit Sports Media, Influencing Win, Just Joshin, and the Ren Zone. Division 3, Gridiron Goddess beating out Flurry Sports. There's a century loss, 113-42, 108-34. Dino Sports with a massive upset this week against the Rad Dad Network, 116-76 to 113-20. Rad Dad was the last team to be undefeated in the season. He has now fallen. He's still number one ranked, but he has fallen off of the undefeated train. So congratulations to Dino Sports for being the King Slayer on this one. And Rad Dad will cover your record here in a little bit. Yippee Justin Tucker against Cup of Almond Ramen Noodles. This is officially the longest two team names put together for a matchup. Also a record, but I'm not going to write it down. But yes, you have the most characters in both of your team names there. So 147.54 to 132.76. So Matt Joseph's winning that one. Talon 109.68 over at Gorilla Camp, beating out Marketing Happy Hour Madness. Cassie Tucker 56.30. Bevskins 97.12 to Jordan Short 64.84. The Masterpieces 80.66, losing to Big Nick's Energy 130.80. Tank Latier 105.50, beating out Swamp Kings 102.60. There's essentially a loss. Boba Sensei losing 56.34 to the Replacements 127.60. That's a commanding win for Brian. Brian is one of three teams that have replaced some ghosting teams. So he's been putting up points since he came back, but I think this is his first win. So congratulations and welcome to the league. Here's your rankings for the week. Rad Dad still sitting number one, even with the loss. Bevskins number two, Tank number three, Flurry Sports, Gorilla Camp, Yippee Justin Tucker, Gridiron Goddess, Boba Sensei, Dino Sports, Swamp Kings, Big Nick's Energy, Cup of Almond Ramen Noodles, The Masterpieces, The Replacement, Marketing Happy Hour Madness, and Jordan Short still sitting there at the bottom. And of course, we've got Division 4. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Beating out Cleveland Thunderbolts 82-02 to 79-50. That is Sebastian's third win of the year. So this week, Cleveland Thunderbolts is not smarter than a fifth grader. Shiar Shugovs beating out Cobra Kai 124-34 to 103-58. There's a century loss. Downfield Reapers 154-34 to the Crush Crew 73-64. Downfield Reapers is continuing his 5-game win streak. Cupertino Deadites 76-40 to the Diamond Dogs 104-90. Fantasy Couriers 100.74 beating up Bees in the Backfield 88.9. Team Excitement 79-68 to Team Ohana Rizzlers 89-98. Locked On Fantasy Baseball 114-66 against Becky Mankin over at Figment's Crew 100.30. And finally, Cardiacs 87-78 losing to the Topeka City Troopers. That's Mike Brick. He is one of the other teams that have joined the league in the last few weeks, and he is on a 3-game win streak since joining. He has not lost. Here are your rankings. Fantasy Couriers, you're sitting at the number one spot this week. Locked On Fantasy Baseball, Matthew Monet, our co-host, is at number 2, followed by Downfield Reapers, Team Ohana Rizzlers, Bees in the Backfield, Diamond Dogs, Cobra Kai, Topeka City Troopers, Cupertino Deadites, Shiar Shugovs, The Crush Crew, Figment's Crew, Cardiacs, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, Team Excitement, and the Cleveland Thunderbolts. All right. So before we jump into the next section here, I wanted to take a second and tell people about the contest that we have running right now. It started last night. We announced it on our live show. Um, it would have been Tuesday night, so we announced it on election night with a little bit of a distraction from the chaos going on out there. We have a contest going on. The link is in the description below. It is running through December 6th, 11:59 Eastern, and lots of great prizes. The first contest we did last month was strictly for the channel and the two co-hosts, kind of boost the platform there. This month we are focusing on the 64 teams that consist of the league, really trying to promote. We asked each one, like, what is your one thing that you would want a customer or potential client to do? And so that is what is in the contest, is that action to take. A lot of them are visiting their social media pages, visiting their websites, signing up for something. So make sure you're entered into that contest with some really great prizes. A little bit jealous that I committed to giving it away before I saw it. The top two prizes are a Adrian Peterson JSA certified autographed jersey, and the other prize is a Kurt Warner JSA certified autographed jersey. So two really cool things. There's actually an internal contest amongst the 64 teams, and that the one who can get you their bonus code entered the most, they'll also win a separate jersey of Chuba Hubbard, and so that is a pretty cool incentive for them to go out and win. And so the only way to get their bonus code, though, is to go to their platforms in whatever way they choose to distribute that out. We basically said, here's the code. The code is yours. Distribute, promote it how you want to, and yeah, that's about it. So we're not dictating anything else. Some people have asked for like template, social media posts, that kind of thing. I think we put a graphics together, but it's really on them. So however you want to get that code from them, spam the hell out of their Facebook or something like that, and be like, "We wants the code." Um, they all have that, and that'll give you bonus entries into the contest. They'll get the person who gets the most bonus codes with their bonus code entered. They'll win a prize, and so there's a little bit of a fun incentive for them to running through December 6th. So we've got ourselves the Thanksgiving holiday, the rest of our regular season, and then probably kicking us into the holiday season. So it's a good contest for a good time of the year. So it's a lot of fun. But let's hop back into the content here. We've got quite a bit more to cover. One of the things that we love about Fantasy Turf War are the statistics and the analytics that come out of this. And so let's take a look at some of the stuff that came out this week. And so this is the points scored per division. The different colors are different divisions. You can see that we all generally had a best week ever of sorts last week, and we've had a little bit of a regression. Two of the divisions have dropped off significantly. The other two, a little bit of a drop off, but not much, but still very healthy in terms of a league. This is the average team points for this week. So if you wanted to win a game, you would have had to have had about 100.31 points. Average points per team per division. So this is just breaking it down further per division. This is where the if you wanted to win a game, the century loss thing comes from. We tell people if you want to win, you should expect to have to score about 100 points. This is where that number comes from. So you can see 99, 98 all the way across the board. Division 1 this week is a 99.41. Average points per team through the first 9 weeks, you have a 98.67. So this is also where that comes in, about the 100 points a week. Average is about where you want to be. Was not true last week. Again, we had a pretty crazy week in terms of points scored for everybody across the board. This week, that would have held true, though. High low for the season so far. Nothing's really changed here. Total points as a league. So this is all 4 divisions combined. You can see again we've had about a 300 point, 400 point drop off from last week, but still our third week, highest week ever this season. So still very, very healthy as a league, and we are all doing very well. Undefeated, and so as you notice, there's no team up here anymore. So we had quite a few, and then now we dropped out to 2 for the last little bit, and we are down to 0. Tank lost last week, and Rad Dad's lost this week, and that is it, typo. All right, record books. We brought this up in the results, but we have a previous record of smallest margin of victory set by Matthew Brandon at a .38 back in week 6. That record has been broken by Matt Brandon, who also has now the record for smallest margin of victory at a .10. So, in previous versions of this league, before we went to YouTube and social media and all that, this was called the Blood Alcohol Content Award because the points for smallest margin of victory was a .08. And so, if you know, you know. But we are officially now a .10. So, getting back to that, and that was set this week. Matthew beating out his own record. So, congratulations there. Now that the streak is over, we can officially announce that the longest win streak is Dennis Tresca currently, and that is a win of 8. So he has won weeks 1 through week 8. He is the sole record holder there. Although there are some teams currently in the league that have a chance of breaking this still through the season, so this record may not hold. We also have an ongoing record, has not officially closed out yet, but the longest lose streak is Floyd Beard, who has lost 6 straight. That is week 4 to week 9, so he's currently on the streak. Hopefully, he can win this week and close this out and keep the record. But several teams in contention for this one at this point. All right, this is everyone's favorite part of the show where we start to cover all of the overall standings for the week. This is usually where all the hype and trash talking comes in. So let's jump right in. Fantasy Turf War standings for Week 10. Dennis Tresca still sitting at number 1, even though he lost. Has the points scored on everyone else in the league at 1144.6. But that gap is narrowing quite a bit this last week. And so in number 2, you've got Desmond Ordonez, Charles Carswell, DJ Dove, and JJ Wing, the Fantasy Couriers. Kevin Beverly, Tank Latier, Cameron Bassett, and Matthew Ane. That is your top 8. Pastor Jack, Justin Davies, Dan Brown Jr., Mike Lanza, Zach Brunner, Jeffrey Demers, Talon Van Horn, and Eric Arena are your top 16. Of note here, Mike Lanza has what we would call the easiest schedule ever to this point because he is only having 714.92. That's the league lowest. Points scored against him, and he is also putting up quite a bit at 972. So that is part of the reason for his success, although he did drop one spot this week. He has what would be considered the easiest record or easiest schedule so far this year. And that changes every couple of weeks. 17 to 24, you've got Joe Knight, Teamer Terry, Matthew Metzbauer, Matt Josephs, T.I., Jonathan Mohan, Renee Neal, Michael Crystal, and Jesse Grund. 25 to 32, you've got Casey Woolley, Casey Garcia, Mike Brick, Susan C., Alex Kaplan, Michelle Halleck, Zach Fisher, and Ben Fisher. You guys sitting right next to each other on the rankings this week. That'll do wonders for Thanksgiving. 33 to 40, you've got Vegas Manny, Mark Manzella, Timothy Trilk, Evan, Team Coco, Matt Brandon, Eric Lund, Jay Harper, and Chet Atkins. And so you see the plus 10s there. Those are going to come back up here in a little bit. But Matt, of course, coming off his smallest victory margin record set, and Eric with the massive upset against Rad Dads. 41 to 48, Katie and Jet, Gilly Gilmartin, Avery and Jeff C., Becky Minkin, Sean Petnati, Kurt Swilly, Matthew Rummick, Nick Nichols. 49 to 56, you've got Matt Brown, Sebastian Bassett, Cardiacs, Adam Marino, Floyd Beard, Scott Habib, Lauren Hill, and Brian Gobble. And that's a typo, Brian. I apologize for that. Good time to also cover the asterisk. And so Brian is one of the 3 teams that were replaced midseason. That replaced ghosted teams midseason. So he inherited the team. Part of the deal was that if they find themselves in that lower 4 for the divisions, they would not be subject to punishment. We didn't feel it was fair that they inherited the failures or successes of the other team, and so they won't be punished. And then they also got an automatic invite for next year. So doesn't look like Brian needs it right now. He's been putting up points, and he finally got a win to go with it this week. But just in case, that is what that is for. 57 to 64, the bottom 8. So you have Lauren Kaler, Richard Falls, Julius Adams, DJ Hall, Cassie Tucker, Dan Boyle, Adam Shifter, Jordan Short as the bottom 64 there. So Dan Boyle is also one of those teams, also putting up a lot of points, but he did lose to Sebastian this week, so you hate to see that. Lauren has the most points in the league scored against her at 10-13-64, and so she's not having the easiest time right now. But hopefully that levels out and she can at least get out of the bottom of the division there. Uh, and then Jordan and Andy have been sitting in there fighting back and forth for a little bit. So we'll see if they can pull it out. Jordan Short, of course, having the lowest point scored at 527.64. So we'll see. Best week ever. We talked about this a couple seconds ago, but Matthew Brandon over at Full Time Fantasy and Eric Lund, Dino Sports, you two are having the best week ever. You have climbed 10 spots in the rankings. Of course, Matt Brandon uh, coming out with a new record, beating his own record of smallest margin of victory, now at a .10. And the rankings have rewarded you kindly with a 10 spot gain this week. Eric, you have beat out Rad Dad Network, the only remaining undefeated team to that point. And so you were rewarded with a 10 spot climb as well. So you two are having the best week ever, which of course means someone's having the worst week ever. At least this week, it is a shared responsibility for 5 teams because all 5 of you have dropped 7 spots. So Michelle Halleck over at Boba Sensei, Vegas Maddie, Zach Fisher at Dragon's Word, Mark Manzella, and Alex Kaplan at Mystics and Statistics. You are having the worst week ever in Fantasy Turf War because you have dropped 7 spots. All right, let's jump into the Week 10 battles, starting with Division 1's Guinea Pigs. Big Andy Media Bam Bam against Jeff C. Casey William the Magic Makers against General OGFL. Sean Petnati at the coach's desk against last place winner. Carswell Golf against Big Beard. Desmond O'Donnell is against the Vibe. Desmond's trying to hold on to that division lead spot. The Vibe is trying to fight his way into there. So let's see who pulls off the win there. Vegas Maddie Screaming Pomeranian is against DJ Hall, 2-7. South Harmon Michael Crystal over at Teardown against the Lefties. This should be a good one. Stat Daddies Justin Davies against Lambo Calrissian. All right, moving on to Division 2's battles any given Sunday. You have Cameron Bassett over at Who Let the Service Dogs Out against our host, Lauren Hill at Just Joshin. Lauren is trying to stay out of the bottom of the division. Cameron Bassett is trying to solidify and separate himself from the rest of the competition in the division to lock in a playoff berth. So this is a very good game to watch. Mystics and Statistics, the Mystics against Shady Brady, Mike Lanza. Team Coco against Team Smooth. Both teams are 4-5, ranked 35 and 36, so this should be a good one to watch. Dan Brown Jr. at Southside Stampede against TI Sports Eating Nation. Mark Manzella against Game Time Sports Network. Both teams are 4-5. And the Red Zone against Legit Sports Media. The Red Zone's trying to get out of that bottom spot, and she's running out of time, so let's see if she's able to pull that one off. And Matt Brandon coming off one of the best weeks ever against Influencing Win Adam Marino. And Strange Brew against Welker Home Peyton. Moving on to Division 3, the Goats. Susan C., Gridiron Goddess, against Matt Joseph's Yippee-Ki-Yay, Justin Tucker. That should be a fun one to watch. Both teams are 5-4, closely ranked. Eric Lund, the Kingslayer, going up against Talon Van Horn, also the Kingslayer. Both these teams beat out the last 2 undefeateds. Of course, with Eric beating out Brad Dads and Talon beating out Tank last week. So this would be the Battle of the Kingslayers, and probably our game of the week. Bevskins against Flurry Sports, a very, very good one. 2 fierce competitors, both highly ranked, both trying to get into the playoffs. Scott Habib with the Masterpieces against Brian and the Replacement. Rad Dad with a tough loss last week, going to 8-1 against Cassie Tucker over at Marketing Happy Hour. Let's see if Rad Dad can rebound and Cassie can keep herself out of the bottom of the division here. Tank, I don't know what happened. You were supposed to lose that game Monday night, and then I blinked, and then you won the game. So congratulations there. You moved to 8-1, going against Big Nick's Energy. Nick Nichols, Cup of Almond Ramen Noodles against Nichelle Halleck at Boba Sensei. And Jordan Short against Swamp Kings. Division 4, the Monarchs. Sebastian Bassett coming off his third win of the season against Cobra Kai. Downfield Reed, Jeffrey Demers on his 5-game win streak, trying to keep that streak alive, going against Renee Neal, Bees in the backfield. This will be a tough one for both teams, fierce competitors. I think Renee is the highest ranked female team currently. And again, Jeffrey Demers is trying to get himself into the playoffs and has a current win streak of 5, so trying to keep that one alive. Zach Fisher, Dragon's Horde against Chet Atkins, the Crush Crew. The Shiar Shugoths against Cleveland Thunderbolts. Still working on your picture there. The Fantasy Couriers against Cardiac Sports and Memorabilia. Team Excitement against the Topeka City Troopers. Again, Topeka City is 5-4, but Mike has come into the league in the last 3 weeks and has won his first 3 games. So nothing to blink an eye at and should pay attention to. Jesse Grunt over the Diamond Dogs against Becky Mankin and Figment's crew. And Team Ohana Rizzlers against Lockdown Fantasy Baseball. Both teams are currently, I think actually, Matthew Ane over at Lockdown is giving himself a playoff berth right now, but Ohana Rizzlers is trying to spoil that for one of the 2 teams up there, and they desperately need that win this week to move that needle. All right, and that is going to do it. Again, if you have not entered into the contest, please make sure you do so. That contest is going on through December 6th. Some of the entries are able to be done daily. Some of them are done weekly. Make sure you're getting the bonus codes from each of the platforms and the small businesses that are being represented in this contest. Best of luck to everyone. Maybe I can win that Adrian Peterson jersey back. We'll see. I probably not. I don't have very good luck on those contests. So, best of luck to all of you. Hopefully you guys like that. But if you want us to continue to do stuff like that, we need your help. Make sure you're subscribed to whatever platform you're watching, listening to this on, and let us know in the comments who you think is going to win this week. Who do you think is going to make themselves in the playoffs? Who do you think is done and out of the playoffs or finding themselves in a punishment spot? There's still 4 weeks of play here, so anything can go. That's still anybody's guess as who's going to make it. So no clear decided winners at this point, but in any division, which is great to see. It's a healthy, strong, competitive league, and I love to see it. So it's been a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have had a good week. Continue to have a good week, and we'll see you guys Tuesday nights right here on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter Live, 9 p.m. Eastern. Matthew and Lauren will join me. We cover all sorts of fantasy football news, and you can join in the conversation as well. Make sure you're checking out our website, fantasyturfwar.com. Sign up for our email list. That's where you get all the information and find out about how you can be part of the show. But until then, we usually end the show the same way. So be kind to one another. Be excellent to one another. Know that you're loved and appreciated. And we will see you all next time.